Hi, this is Mrs. Donahue with a quick demonstration on how to complete the final for my class. I am assuming that you are in the right spot as you have accessed this video. So you're on Google Classroom and you found the distance learning post for the final, and you'll be completing it and then submitting it by turning it in through this Google Classroom post. If you try to open this Google Drawings document that is the actual final itself, and you saw a message somewhere at the top that said that you had no editing access, that you were in the reader view only, one thing you can do to make sure you are able to edit it is go File and choose Make a Copy. And the copy will be one that appears on your Google Drive, and you are the owner, and you can edit it, and then you can turn it in through Google Classroom. Otherwise, if all works correctly, you should have just a copy automatically available for you that you should be able to edit. That should solve any problems for people who aren't able to edit the document. Otherwise, you can contact me and I can talk you through it. Okay, so here's how you complete this. The instructions are up here on the left. The actual document that I'm grading is the, piece of paper in the middle, even though it's digital. So anything, all of your work, anything that you're doing will need to be done on this paper in the middle. And then you're going to be picking from the art gallery, which would be on the left and right side of your paper. So basically what you're doing is you are choosing 3 artworks from the collection here. So you only need 3 of them. And you have to decide 3 that have something in common. And that something in common has to be either an element of art or a principle of design. You can see on the instructions, there's a list of the 7 elements of art and a list of the 10 principles of design. You only have to pick one from that list of 17. And you're going to focus on that one for all 3 artworks, because that's how you are comparing all 3 of them. You're saying that they have balance in common, or their color scheme is in common, or their pattern, their use of pattern is how they are being able to be compared and have something similar to each other. If you need a refresher on the elements of art and principles of design, I have provided 2 PDF resources also on the Google Classroom post. They look like this: the elements of art, a quick definition, explanation, and then same thing, here's the principles of design. This is a multi-page PDF. These are sketchbook notes from Art 1. So those will help you out. You're also welcome to look it up online, because I'm not worried about you copying and pasting from something online. You're going to have to put this in your own words to be able to apply it to the artwork themselves. All right, so let me demonstrate how this will be done. I'm going to look at the galleries and start thinking about one that catches my eye that maybe I can say, I'm going to focus on first proportion. So I'm going to look at these and say, okay, this one looks like it has something to do with proportion, and that's all about, size, where something's going to look very large or very small. And then I'm noticing over here a couple other ones. So these 2, I think, both have the artist is using proportion to help create the artwork, and it's a significant thing in the artwork. And so I feel confident that I can talk about these 3 and compare them and say that they are all similar to each other because of their use of proportion. So I'm going to begin by moving the artworks that I've decided on over where it says place artwork number 1 here. I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to move this one here. Also, another thing you can do, you are absolutely welcome to do, is you can enlarge it. If you can't see them and they're small, you can, there we go, moving this around. You can enlarge the artwork and get a better look at it, what it looks like up close. So resize it, and then of course, if it doesn't fit on this paper, you can always resize it and adjust it. But generally, it should be next to the box where you're going to be explaining it. And then I said this one as well. And I'll make that one a little bit bigger. So first thing, find 3 artworks that have something in common. I've decided I'm going to talk about the proportion in these 3 artworks and how that's a common element or a common principle in all of them. And then I have to analyze the artwork and talk about each one and how the artist used my selected element or principle. So how did the artist use proportion to, or why was proportion significant in each of these artworks? So in this box, I'm going to type that. So you're going to go ahead and you can just delete this part, delete that, and then go ahead and type. So here would be an example for this one. So I'm saying for the top artwork, this artwork uses proportion to help tell the story. The artist included people, but made them really small to help set the scene of an evening walk in the park after the rain. The artist made the people small to tell us that who they are is not important in this artwork. The setting and scene are the important thing. The focus of this artwork is to convey a mood of a calm and peaceful evening park setting. And so what I'm seeing that's consistent with all 3 of these is they have what looks to be a human figure or figures in each of them. And all of the humans are very, very small. And that's on purpose to help tell the story and make it so that the people are supporting the story, but not the main focus of the story or the focal point. So I'm going to do that again for this one. I'm going to apply it specifically to this artwork here. I'm going to type my explanation in this box. So this artwork also uses proportion to help tell the story. The tiny figure in the foreground looks like a person in a rowboat. The contrasting size of the tiny person to the large island and tree helps the viewer focus on the landscape or scene rather than the person. The artwork captures a sense of exploration as we imagine the moment of approaching this fantasy island that is rich with lush foliage and vegetation. And then my third one, I'm analyzing this artwork with the dragon. I'm going to type, and what you're typing should be about 3 to 5 sentences. It doesn't need to be an enormous amount, but it should definitely show a thorough understanding of how that element or principle is being applied to that specific artwork. Okay, so here's my explanation for the dragon image. Again, we can see proportion being used to help tell the story. This artwork shows small human figures cautiously observing the body of a very large dragon. It was important that the artist kept the humans very small to convey the awe of this massive beast. By being so large compared to the people, the dragon is the focal point of the artwork, and the story is about how the impressive creature met its demise. So that's it. That's what I needed to do for the final. So I'm just checking to make sure, look it over. You're showing a clear understanding of each analysis of each artwork. You're showing that you are able to compare 3 different artworks together under a common element or principle. And then, again, it's your comparing and analyzing. So this would be a great example of a high-scoring final. Something that would not score as many points would be a much more generalized or too not detailed enough of an explanation. So I couldn't just say that this artwork uses proportion because the people are small. I have to say, how did that, yes, okay, so same thing with this over here, right? The heart's small, but that doesn't change the meaning of the artwork. And so you need to make sure that you are actually saying, why are the people small? Or how does that impact the look or the story or the significance of what's being focused on in the artwork? Okay, so let me give you just a real quick other examples. So that one was specifically for proportion. This would be all I have to do, and then I would submit and turn this in, and that's it for the final. Okay, so I'm going to undo several things here. Move my artworks back. And then I'm not going to go into this much detail, but so I want to talk about movement, and I like this one a lot. That has movement in it. I'm noticing movement in this one. And then I also, of the rest of them, I don't have as great of an example, but this one definitely does show movement. And so I would compare these three. So there I could talk about movement using these three works of art and how there's a very clear path that the viewer's eye follows. And so I would just have to explain how movement is being shown in each artwork. So like the fish, the eye is being followed down the back of the fish, down through the ends of the tail. The bottom one, we're seeing movement in the clouds in the sky. Our eye is going kind of in a swirling, spiraling path horizontally across the sky through those clouds. So I could use movement. And there's no right or wrong as far as like which artworks you use, as long as you are able to back it up with evidence that you clearly are seeing this because, and answering the question of why. I'm going to go ahead and put those back. And then one more example, I won't go into a lot of detail on it, but say I want to talk about color. I noticed a comparison or similarities between the colors in these artworks. I could use this one again, or I could use this one. Looking at all three of those, I'm seeing that they have a predominantly green color scheme. But it's not enough for me to just say these three artworks are similar because they are all mostly green. That would not answer the question of why or how the green is being applied or impacting the mood or story in the artwork. And so this is where it would be really helpful to go back and review color if you need to look it up online, or review, the significance of color if it's going to be about the meaning of the color green, or even, color is separated into hue, saturation, and value. And so looking at the greens in all three of these artworks, none of them are a pure, intense, like bright grass green. All of them have been dulled or diluted, so the saturation of the color is not intense and pure. And a lot of them, the green has been like a lighter value. It's not a super dark green. Especially this one, I'm seeing a much lighter value of green. And all of that, the changes of the green is going to impact the mood of the artwork. So in this one, I would talk about how there's a lot of chaos in the mark making that's going on, yet having this very muted, dulled, softened green is going to help create a more calm and, not so jarring of an appearance to the artwork. And so it's very important that the artist used a diluted or, not as pure and not as intense of green. And same thing with this green, it's meant to look more natural. And then this green also, it's supposed to be the entire artwork. The green helps bring unity, where all the artwork, the colors in the artwork are kind of dull. They're not super bold and bright and intense like some of these artworks that we see over here on the in the gallery still. So again, I'm being much more specific in talking about the color and not just saying that these three are similar because they are all green. That's how you are being specific in answering the why that color is important, or why, that shape, form, whatever element or principle you decide is significant to that artwork, or what impact it has in that artwork. That's going to be what gets you a high score on this final. Again, I'm available to answer emails. And so if you're having any trouble with this final, make sure you reach out to me. Otherwise, go ahead and complete it as soon as you see it, or whenever you have time available, and so that I can get it graded and you can see your final score for the class, final grade. And then as far as the due date on this, you do need to make sure that you are turning it in by midnight on the day of your class final. And if you think you might have questions and your final is on the last day, I do not recommend waiting until that evening to start the final, because you won't give yourself any time to ask me questions. Okay, good luck, and I look forward to seeing what you write. Thank you.